Hey everybody, on today's episode we're going to wrap up the conversation around large lithium batteries and the shipping problem. And I want to disclaimer this video, as I did before, I am not a legal expert around lithium battery shipping regulations or things like that. I have, however, put many hours of research into this topic, and so I believe everything I'm about to say is factual and correct. However, if there's anything that I say that you know is not true and you can cite, whether it's a regulation or some other source that proves me wrong, please hop in the comments below so that everybody can have a better understanding around this, because I'm about to make some claims that are, like I said, I believe to be factual, but I want to make sure everybody understands these properly and that we're giving everybody the correct information. And the claim is that for large batteries like this, lithium batteries, if you buy it online, the warranty that you were offered is essentially worthless. Now, there's caveats to that, and I will go through those. But by and large, this mid-range size battery, and I found them all over the internet, 1 year, 5 year, 10-year lifetime warranty is essentially worthless to you as a consumer. And so before we explain all that, we got to start back at the beginning, which is, what's a lithium battery or lithium-ion battery or lithium polymer battery? And there's lots of different terms, and as I found out, lots of misuse of all these terms by people blogging, claiming to be experts or creating content for their sites because they sell something, and so they're doing articles about lithium batteries, and lots of misuse of terms. And so I want to clarify a few things around this, again, that I believe to be true. And so the one specifically is, if you remember, my battery is a lithium iron phosphate battery. If you don't know what that is, look it up. It's a version of a lithium battery that has very safe characteristics with thermal runaway and charge-discharge cycles and things like that. However, I found misquotedly on the internet, you'll see articles like lithium ion versus lithium iron phosphate. And people will refer to them as if they are different. A lithium iron phosphate battery is a lithium ion battery. And the reason that is because it works on a very basic principle that energy is transferred by the transfer of lithium ions. Now, there's lots of different chemistries for lithium batteries, and I'm not going to go through all of that. Check out something like Battery University for lots of good information on that. But people get confused because another argument that you hear that I've started learning about is lithium ion versus lithium polymer. Which one do you want? And people use them incorrectly, because a lithium polymer battery is actually a misnomer. It should be lithium ion polymer. And again, I don't want to go through a whole science class. This feels like a Smarter Everyday episode opportunity. But people use these terms incorrectly. So you say, oh, I don't have a lithium-ion battery, I have a lithium polymer battery. Well, you have a lithium-ion polymer battery because it's still transferring lithium ions as its basic operating principle. It just depends on things like the anode and the cathode and the electrolytic material that flows through that determines your battery rating. And so one of the big holdups I found in trying to return this for warranty was, is it a lithium-ion or lithium polymer battery or lithium metal battery? And so I had to do a bunch of research on that to find out that a lithium iron phosphate battery, while very safe and doesn't have some of the issues that your typical lithium ion batteries have, it is still, as far as United States federal regulations are concerned, a lithium ion battery. And so it falls under things like UN 3480 and UN 3481 as far as shipping classification labels and things like that. And so first things first on your battery, if you have a lithium rechargeable battery, it is a lithium ion battery. People might want to tell you, no, it's lithium polymer, it's lithium iron, it's LiFePO4, it's a lithium ion battery. So let's start there. And as a lithium ion battery, there are books of federal regulations around shipping these. And most importantly, it's around capacity. So stand by. I also have lots of these. You probably do too if you're a maker or electronic hobbyist. This is also a LiPo battery that I dropped. Also a lithium-ion battery. However, you can put that in a box, make sure it's properly labeled, take it down to your UPS store, and ship it back to wherever you bought it from, or ship it to another person. No problem. It's only a problem when you get into these. And so the thing I'm still not entirely sure on, and somebody please correct me in the comments below, is that for lithium-ion, which is a federally regulated hazardous material classification, it's called Class 9 shipping. I believe if it's over 100 watt hours, you cannot ship it by air. So under 100 watt hours, if you do all these things, you can ship it by air. If it's under 300 watt hours, you can ship it by ground as a regular person. And I say regular person, not a company, as a standard end consumer, you can ship that battery as long as you label it correctly and package it and all those things. Under 100 watt hours through air, under 300 watt hours by ground. I believe those are the two marks. What I do know for certain is that this 480 watt hour battery does not classify or qualify for either of those shipping methods. Again, as an end consumer, the reason the company can ship this to me is because they have a hazardous materials contract with the shipping provider, whether that's FedEx or UPS or whatever else. And so the company can ship you the battery and tell you this has a 5-year warranty on it. Well, if 6 months later your battery breaks, you have to get it back to them. And this particular battery can only be sent by me if I don't want to drive it, like through a shipping. I could drive it back to California and return it. But as a consumer, if I wanted to ship this back to California, I need to use a freight service. I got a quote on that, $800. The battery only cost me $400. Who would pay $800 to warranty a battery that they could just get a replacement for $400? And that is where I say your warranty on your lithium battery is worthless. Now, I did all the research. I talked to the hazmat teams at both FedEx and UPS. Both of them on multiple phone calls assured me that I have no legal way to ship that battery through anything but a freight provider, and they cited me federal regulations. Now, to test this a little bit further, I went deeper and started calling regular battery sellers online to ask them about their warranty. All of them have warranties. 1 year through lifetime. I found lots of companies. There's lots of companies selling these kind of batteries online right now. And so I just called them up and said, hey, I'm shopping around for batteries. I understand that you have a warranty. I'd like to understand how your warranty works. If I need to have my battery serviced, how do I get it back to you? And how do you help me do that? And the results were shocking. So I got a whole gamut of answers, but common ones. Let me go through a few of them. I got you know what, we just resell the batteries. You need to talk to the manufacturer because it's the manufacturer who services the warranty. And so I called the manufacturer, and the manufacturer said, oh yeah, it's your responsibility to get it back to us. So now I'm $800, and then we'll ship it back to you. I also got it's your responsibility to get it back to us and pay for the shipping to get it back to you. Now, this won't be too bad because you're going to pay a huge chunk to get it back to them, and then probably just their hazmat contract price to get it back to you. But anyway, you got to pay it both ways there. Again, more than the cost of the battery. I found one company that doesn't. They require you to pick it up, probably because they understand these regulations exist and don't want to mess with them. And so they say, listen, if you want one of our batteries, we have factories throughout the United States. You got to come and pick it up because we're not shipping it. And then again, I also got universally, not a single company that I reached out to said, we take care of getting the battery back from you. It was always, it's your responsibility to get the battery back to us. One company in particular, which I will leave nameless to protect the innocent, basically said and admitted, yep, you got us. That's a real issue that you can't get the battery back to us unless you want to pay a huge shipping cost for it. And that person was actually nice enough to suggest, like, you may be able to find like a local battery manufacturer that you could work a deal out to use their hazmat shipping contract to send. He even admitted, in a lot of places we can just make sure the stickers are on it, slap the label on it. You can drop it off at a UPS store and they'll take it. He's like, that works sometimes. But the ones that are really paying attention to the regulations and know the law will refuse to do that. And so essentially admitted, yeah, we'll just send people return labels and have them illegally ship it back to us so that we can service the warranty, which works out great for the consumer. Like if I'm a consumer and they say, here's a label and slap it on it, and I don't know any different, and I drop it off at my UPS store and it makes it back, nobody's hurt or injured and everybody wins, except that it's illegal. And I don't want to debate the law of whether it should be illegal or shouldn't be illegal, but that's not what I would call a great business practice to have your customers do illegal activity. Specifically, again, a lot of these places will have you sign, like my UPS store makes me sign a paper every time I do a shipment that says that there's no lithium batteries in it. And you're taking some amount of liability from a company that's trying to skirt the regulations just to help you as a customer. They have good intentions, they want to help you, but they're skirting federal regulations in a way that, let's say something blows up, somebody dies, and the investigation starts. Well, where did the battery come from? Oh, it came from here. Who did the battery? It was going to this place. People are going to figure out that that was you, and I imagine you're somehow held or could be held liable. You might be able to say, I just did what the company said. It's their fault. But again, in the interest of remaining within the law, there is no legal way to send a battery of this size back to the manufacturer. And they know it. Many of them know it, but it's, this is the Tommy Boy moment. I'll put the clip in here.
Here's the way I see it, Ted. Guy puts a fancy guarantee in a box because he wants you to feel all warm and toasty inside.
Yeah, makes a man feel good.
Of course it does. Why shouldn't it?
That's exactly what it is. We're saying, you like to hear warranty. It makes you feel good. And so we put 5-year lifetime warranty on it, knowing that if there's ever really a problem, you're not going to pay the money to send it back. And a couple of companies said, that's true, and we know it. And most of the time, if it's within reason, we'll just send you a new battery to get around that, because it's really hard for everybody with all these regulations. And so I think I have effectively proven that, based on the watt-hour rating, that your warranty could be worthless. And so I would encourage you, if you're going to buy a battery of this size, check on the warranty and figure out what your options are. Again, based on my sample data, you're going to find nobody is paying to get that battery back to service for warranty. However, there's a couple of different things you could look at. You might look at finding a local provider. You may pay a slight premium to buy locally. But again, if there's a warranty, you can just drive it back to the store and get it serviced or whatever. Another one with some of these bigger manufacturers, they have locations throughout the United States. So again, if you do have to send it back, if there's a distribution center near you, if they have a distribution center, company A might be huge, but company B might have a distribution center right up the road from you. Well, in that case, you would just drive the battery back to that distribution center to get it serviced for warranty. So these are factors that you want to take into account when you're looking to purchase a lithium battery of this size, because of the shipping regulations that are around it. And so, trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to cover on this. Just, there's lots of, people say, oh, just put the right sticker on it and the label and it's fine. It's not about correct labeling. It's about correct packaging. And the reason companies have hazmat contracts with the shipping providers is because they are certified to pack it correctly. It's not about putting the right label on. So a lot of people say, oh, as long as you put the UN 3840 or 3841 sticker on, it's fine. It's not fine. It's fine for the company to do that. It's not fine for you to do that as an end consumer, unless you have received the federally required training on how to package it correctly and know all of the standards on that, and can provide documentation that it has been packaged to federal regulations. So unless you have that, you can't just stick the right sticker on it and send it back. You might be able to do that, and they might take it. Just know that, as far as I've found and learned, that is technically illegal. And so just things to consider. Again, it's such an interesting space, and as it's evolving, batteries are getting safer. It'll be interesting to see how federal regulations change over time. But right now, as this market is starting to grow and people are buying bigger batteries for projects at home and solar and things like that, the warranty issue gets really sticky, because you have no legal way to get that battery back to the place that you bought it from. And so that's it. That's how, and in my case, sorry, to wrap up my specific scenario, the company, after I pressed them, I basically wrote an email saying, I'm pretty sure this is illegal. Here are all the regulations why. If you could please cite me why it's not illegal, I'll happily drop it off and try to get it through another UPS store, which they responded to, we're going to send you another battery, which again works out great for me. I get what I want as a customer, not so great for the company, but again, it's all being legally handled, because they're just going to ship me another battery. And so that's how my shipping story ended. But again, again, I want to encourage you, if you're in the market to buy a battery, please be careful, ask lots of questions, and figure out which provider is best for you so that if you do need a warranty service, you can do that without breaking the bank. So thank you so much for watching. Any comments or any corrections, please stick them down in the comments. And until next time, we're going to have an update on the current sensing project, so that'll be the next video up. Stay tuned for that. Have a great day.